asking a query about why was I overcharged, is in that statement. Integrate with external systems where the AI is able to ensure that personalized interaction. So when you say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and you provide your ID number or your customer number, it should be able to integrate with the systems in the back and pull information automatically. No need for a human intervention to first go and check what is the information that's useful to respond. There's quite a number of other capabilities of our AI solution, multi-language support, and the ability to also do the CSATs and CES that I spoke about, satisfaction rating, and self-service capabilities. And then obviously where the AI is dealing with an impossible problem or an impossible citizen, the ability to escalate to a human agent who will try and interact with that citizen online in real time, and the ability to do multi-channel support. I'll just take you through some of the, especially at the municipal level, the AI capabilities that I speak of. We currently are implementing for other customers, but not in the local space. But in the local space, we have built a chatbot for eThekwini, and this chatbot was proven useful. Sorry, my slides are automated. I'll go back to the slide I'm talking to now. We built a chatbot for eThekwini. It was using AI, and at the time we built this slide, eThekwini was having problem with his call center. It was resulting in dropped calls, citizens not being able to get service. But as soon as we provided them with the chatbot, citizens were able to make calls 24/7. And this when we deployed, just about a month after we deployed, there was a huge flood in eThekwini. And the chatbot did wonders. In one day, it could handle, I think it was close to 10,000 interactions from people who became aware of the chatbot, that no, the municipality just launched a chatbot. We are stranded, we are in flooded areas, we need help. And we've tried to make calls, and the call center system was clogged, dropping calls, and no service was happening. And thanks to the chatbot was able to talk to the citizen, log the call, get information about where they are, send the case to the back office, and emergency services dispatched to assist various communities that were in dire strait. The last case study I wanted to speak to is Midvaal. We were asked to come and assist with increasing customer engagement, as well as improving citizen experience and enabling multiple channels of access. And so we presented a citizen engagement platform to Midvaal with telephony capability. So even the telephone or call center system is fully integrated into our solution, and is a solution we are offering as a Box Fusion. We also, as I said earlier, are automating the supply chain processes. Today, requisition processes to request quotations is fully automated, all the way to payment of service providers. We have a portal. Service providers, all they need to do is to register on the portal. And once they've registered, they'll see all RFQs that have been published. They are able to respond to those RFQs online. They are able to see their purchase orders as they are issued online on the portal. They are able to then come back and upload invoices online and see status of those invoices once they are sent to the back office, and can see how soon they will be paid or if there's a delay in their payment. And with that, we are quite proud to have walked this journey with Midvaal, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Raskole. I wonder if we can have a hackathon for the suppliers, where we elevate the 360 view of a customer beyond billing. Say, for instance, a delinquent patient that never rocks up, and they call the call center, and the agent is able to say, Oh, but remember that you have an appointment in 2 weeks or in 2 days. That's elevation. But maybe for another day or another year. Right. We are coming to the end of this part of the program. And Mr. Robert Malatsi is going to talk to us about From Pixels to Progress, Digital Printing for Local Growth. Mr. Malatsi is from the TUT, Val Technology. Yeah.
Colleagues, what do you? I want to. Yeah, that one. Okay. Is it afternoon? Afternoon, colleagues. I think municipal manager, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, let me try to be as swift as I can be so that I introduce my message here and we see where it goes. Mine is to speak more to the SMEs, those who are looking to utilize the technologies that are emerging and being able to service our municipalities and other facets of our industries. Before we do that, it's always a good thing to start a presentation with a joke. I'm not good with that, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna engage you a little bit. So while you do the calculations, I'll quickly run through the presentation and then we'll be done. But anyways, just a quick one, just to see who was paying attention when they were doing math. I'm going to give you 10,000 rand every day for the next 30 days, or I'm going to give you 1 cent compounding each and every day for the next 30 days. So which option would you choose? We'll deal with that at the end. I'm from Vaal University of Technology colleagues. We report to the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Innovation, Commercialization and Internationalization. We are more of an innovation center. We work more with SMEs, industry in the manufacturing sector. So we are primarily a SME support entity in the space of what is called 3D printing. So I'll try and unpack 3D printing as much as I can and simplify it as much as I can. Obviously, then you'll realize there'll be hand gestures, so bear with me, colleagues. The pictures are blurred deliberately because those are people's IP, etc. So if you can see, awesome. If you can't, still awesome. What is additive manufacturing? What do we understand by that? Everyone, I think, when you start talking printing, we already, by default, go to our little printer in the office. But no, 3D printing is quite different. Yes, we are applying the same technology as your normal printer in the office, but this one on a manufacturing level. So what you're doing, you're building something layer by layer, of which is the same way as a printer, a normal printer in your office works. But in this instance, you're using a material. It's plastic, metal, or some sort of a ceramic or a composite, a mixture of two materials. In that instant, you have a number of mediums that melts the plastic or the material in concern. It might be a laser, which provides heat. It might be extrusion, where you know the ladies when they bake, they'll put on top of your cupcakes, they extrude that nice icing. That's another form of extrusion, so it's called fused deposition modeling. I'm trying to simplify, colleagues, but yeah, it's one of those complicated technologies. Where does it fit in the whole scheme of things? Obviously, in the 4IR technologies, you've heard the colleagues talking about Internet of Things, cloud computing, and cybersecurity, and 3D printing is also part of that realm. We fit in within the 4IR technologies. There's a number of these technologies. If I try and cover all of them, we will spend the whole day. But I'll try and maybe cover two just to bring you up to speed. There's one which we call photopolymerization, where you have a liquid that, in this case, that liquid, we'll call it a resin. And that resin, you have now a laser, which the liquid that is in question is now light sensitive. As that laser moves on that liquid, it cures that liquid in the format of the part that you want to print. You also have what is called binder jetting technology. So binder jetting technology, you might have your simple plastic. I don't want to use the jargons, but the plastic that you use in this instance is PMMA, but let's just call it plastic. So it's a plastic that is in a powder form, and what you use is a glue that will then form your part layer for layer. So you are basically building layer for layer, whatever part that you want to build. But this depends on data input. So you need to be from a background of what you would call someone who can do design, computer-aided design, but not just any computer-aided design, because there's a specific one for additive manufacturing. So once you're majoring in your mechanical engineering and other fields of engineering, there's a specific field where you are able to design in particular for this technology, and it's called design for additive manufacturing. There's now moved to a point where we're now doing biomimicry. So how a tree grows, we can now basically do drawings in that format and print it. So you can imagine the complexities in printing in that format. Even a honeycomb, like how the bees build their, let's call it a home. They build their home there. That honeycomb fashion is one of the complex and strongest form of drawing that you can do. And we are able to do that with the technologies that we have. If you can't draw, like the Chinese, we reverse engineer it. And we have the technology to do that. So in the technologies that we have right here in Vaal University of Technology in Sebokeng, you can come with whatever complex geometry that you have and we'll scan it. From scanning it, we're able to put it in a CAD file. In a CAD file, then we refine it into geometries, and then we're able to print it. So we can also reverse engineer now. Imagine a pump that is broken in a municipality and you quickly want it fixed. And majority of our infrastructure, we know where they come from, England, wherever. We have to wait for some time for us to. We don't want to be the one doing it. I'll speak to that at the end slide. But we don't want to be the ones who are doing this. It must be the SMMEs that are doing this. That's why I said I'm speaking to the SMMEs in the room, who are the manufacturers and wants to use the latest technologies to be able to support municipalities. But what are the capabilities that we have specifically? I think what you will see, we are the only in South Africa who have, except CSIR, on some platforms in their aerosuit space, and maybe CUT in Bloemfontein. Beyond that point, all these technologies rest in Sebokeng, and some of the planes that you are getting on, I'm proud to say some of those parts were made here in Sebokeng. We have a technology called binder jetting technology. It's a German technology. It's called voxel jet. If you are in a foundry space, this is your technology. If you are in metal space, you are producing pumps, impellers, you name it, this is the technology you need to use. This is the technology you need. And to buy this is quite an expensive exercise. We have it here in Sebokeng. You don't have to pay. You just have to come and we assist you. And yeah, we figure out how do we move you into a sustainable SMME who can supply into the market. Basically how it works, like I said, a layer of powder, layer of glue, layer of powder, layer of glue, you get your 3D printed artifact. That artifact usually will go into what we call investment casting. Sorry for bringing in a lot of jargons, but investment casting, basically what it means, we'll take the 3D printed material, cover it in ceramic, melt it out, pour a metal in there, break that thing, it's in a metal form. Basically, that's investment casting. So that's the space where you want to be. The impeller that you are seeing there, unnamed company, some of us are under handcuffs, we can't name companies, but it is sitting in a mine somewhere. They were testing it, and it's still working, better than the one they were importing for 1.2 million. So these are some of the breakthroughs here in Vaal. Another technology that we have housed here in Vaal, in Sebokeng, it's called electro-optica systems. In this instant now, you are not using glue. You are using a laser to melt your plastic in the form that now you would have designed. In this instant now, the plastic that you are using can ultimately be a functional prototype because we are using a hard plastic, which is called alumide, and it has the same strength as aluminium. So you'll find that aluminium, if you want to replace it, you can use this plastic. And drones are basically manufactured using this technology, as you can see there. That's not a picture photoshopped somewhere. That's a drone manufactured here in Sebokeng. So we manufactured the drone in our platform and using this technology. We have another technology that you would also call fused deposition modeling. So fused deposition modeling, basically what it does, like I said, mothers who are baking, extruding your plastic out, that's how this one works. You extrude the plastic layer for layer, building the 3D model that you would have put in as your design. And this plastic is called ABS. So this is one of those industrial plastics that you use, your car dashboards, artifacts in your car. You can even do manifolds. As you can see there, RLEC, if you are from CSIR, if you are from anything that has to do with the army and you love planes and history, you know very well about this. We've manufactured those parts for that company. We also have what you would call selective laser melting, which is now we're talking metal instead of plastics. So now we are directly doing a metal part. And how you do that, the metal itself is pulverized into powder, and that powder, you heat it now like you were heating the plastic. It's just that the laser that you are using is more intense than the one that melts plastic. Obviously, to melt steel, you need to go to temperatures above 1,000, right? So that laser operates at those temperatures. And obviously, there'll be fumes and things like that. So in the environment of a metal printer, safety is the #1 protocol. But you can manufacture whatever in metal, whatever composite metals, aluminum, stainless steel, and you use it immediately. So from the context of local manufacturing together with 3D printing, we don't want to be the manufacturers. That's what we don't want to be. We don't want to be the ones replacing SMMEs. We want to enable SMMEs. We are the ones who wants to be there when an SME needs a quick solution. We want to be the ones who are supporting architectures. It will be great for the mayor and our municipal manager here when they're doing their town planning to actually see an actual model of how the actual town will look like. You know, as an architecture, you have an upper hand. I think we've watched the Net Geos and them. What is that place at Dubai? Those buildings, before they were then built, they were first models that was 3D printed, and the most people who won came there with a model. So look-see wins, you know. So usually if you're an architecture, you come there, you're sitting with the municipal manager and the mayor and whoever is funding, and you're like, this is how the town will look like, this is where the park is gonna be, this is where the school is gonna look like, and they're actually seeing it. It's very easy for them to buy in. Another issue is, like I was saying, the breakdowns. I mean, we're talking data management, we're talking things talking to each other, Internet of Things. If you have a reservoir of information where it says such and such a pump is about to break, you press a button, such an SMME, just press on a machine, and it gets to print. And then you get your pump, by the time it dies, we already have another one. You don't have to wait for a shipment of so many days and et cetera and et cetera. So there's a way of integrating these technologies into our everyday life. From plastic to, I mean, the Chinese are even printing containers. Like, you know, you have a factory of, I've been to China on a number of times. So you question yourself as to where are we going, where exactly, because I mean, if you look at our adoption of this technology in the country, yeah, you get confused. We are adopting on a small scale, of which there's nothing wrong with that. Let's teach our kids, definitely that's where it starts. Let them get to, you know, take up to this. But if we want to revolutionize manufacturing, I mean, the Army now have American Army that is, have a container-based 3D printing platform. So while we are back with spanners and trying to fix our tank so that it goes back to war, they've already printed the part, it's there, and they finish us off. So that's how people are already moving with these technologies. When you go to the exhibitions to see how these technologies are used, you're like, we still have a long way to go. We have a long way to go when it comes to these technologies. But when it comes to what you can use it for, the envelope is big. I mean, majority of our planes and cars, I mean, who drives a Mazda here? Your grill, the new ones, that's a FDM technology. It's basically just printed, and they put it there. You're driving a Jetor, the grill, that beautiful grill that you like, is printed. They just install it there. And how they print them, they have a line of printers, and they just take out these grills. So you remove, the what you call the quality control issue. But anyways, let's leave that alone. So local manufacturing is a pillar of local economic growth. That's what I advocate. Let's create an ecosystem where we're supporting our SMMEs. We are here to support, we are here to facilitate in whichever way that we can to make sure that our SMMEs can support our local municipality in making sure that they deliver on services. And we provide services from technology training itself to manufacturing scheduling, where you can book our platform and we manufacture for you, and then you go and supply your market. We also do a supplier development scheme and technological entrepreneurship training. Those are some of the things that we're doing, but directly for SMMEs. The challenge that we have right now is that it is big business that is talking to us, and we don't want that. We want to talk to our SMMEs for them to talk to big business, and that's my story. Thank you.
My goodness. So Ramalazi, one question. In your printing and stuff, is it SABS certified?
SABS.
Yes. Ra? No, I know, but I get it. If we're going to be talking and twisting the MM's arm about replacing his pump with a 3D pump, he's bound by law to have SABS certified products. So maybe that's an avenue that we need to look at and pump. Are you at ISO level? And ISO level is above SABS? Nya tota ke re anong ke bua ka rona ba ba sa itseng sepe o be le SABS gona mo, and then because not a lot of people know about ISO. Anyway, but it's a brilliant idea. I love it. I'll find SMMEs for you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our second part. We are about to start with the panel discussions. I hope when we finish, they'll still be, because I see that the crowd has thinned out a bit. And I'd like to invite to the podium at the moment our panelists from Vodacom. Mr. Gratitude, Midupi. From BCX, Mr. Elton Moodley. Oh, there he is. Thank you. Mr. Kiruben Pile. And from Nedbank, Mr. Johannes Mutloung. Mr. Mutloung, please come, join us on stage. Thank you. And then Dr. Petzel. There we go. Thank you. I will. And then, there you are. We need a roaming mic for questions. Thank you. Cool. Can I? You can take this one, and then I can. Yeah, they can. Yeah? No. By 6. By 6.
They will share these files because we also have to have the floor.
Is it?
Yes.
It's proven gone. No, because I called him.
Just be careful, they're already on.
I should bring 2 more.
Oh, no, nobody's missing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we can take this one.
Right. Thank you. I'll stick to the edge. Thank you guys for joining. It's just going to be 30 minutes, and how it's going to go is that I'll ask a question of the panelists, they will answer, and then if there's a question from the audience from that question, they can then ask a question, and then we'll go on to the next question. Please come closer. Thank you. Right. I'm going to go from Mr. K to Mr. Whitley, right? General question. What are some key lessons municipalities should learn from global or national case studies of digital innovation in the public sector?
It's integration. It is reuse of existing solutions that are around the world. As an example, there's 200 DPIs that have been available and accredited on that basis, but they could be readily used. So it's to stop the silo approach. It's to embrace existing solutions that are out there, amplify on that basis. And my personal preference is to open up new revenue streams of making data available and creating that community ecosystem backwards and forwards with citizens, not just as consumers, but as collaborators as well.
Cool question. Thank you. And Doctor? Yeah? Same, or you'd like to answer a different question? Oh, okay. No, I hear you. So is data P?
What's the question?
No. Oh, we can do the questions one, or you can answer the question, the same question.
Oh.
Did you get? Okay, you'll answer. You want to answer. So the question is, what are the key lessons municipalities should learn from global or national studies of digital innovation in the public sector?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of key elements. And I think globally, there's a lot of case studies. South Africa, we're currently going through this discussion around NHI, which is basically an enabler in providing healthcare, but at the back of, or at the root of all of these initiatives, there's technology. And we've seen in our European counterparts where they've actually undergone through some of these processes. And one thing that sits in the middle of all of these initiatives is stakeholder engagement. So technology in the absence of stakeholder engagement becomes a wasteful and fruitless, implementations that would normally happen. So the base is around how do we engage stakeholders? How do we bring along the men in the street to advocate for the implementation and the changes that we require that technology is supposed to bring. So I think at the center of all of this thing is stakeholder engagement and understanding the type of stakeholders that are supposed to adopt whatever form of technology that we are bringing. And globally, there are a lot of case studies that talks to multiple forms on how to engage stakeholders and so on. Thank you.
Thank you. Ramudipe?
Thank you. Just to add on to that, I would like to think that municipalities, especially locally, should be aware of the fact that they are servicing people, for starters. And people, history has it that, operate in different levels in terms of their thinking. So, engaging communities in terms of technology that you would want to bring forth to them doesn't begin at the level of you wanting to deploy technology. There should have been prior engagements with the communities, have a buy-in first before you bring technology. And so that it becomes very easy for you to deploy any type of technology that you would want to bring to communities. Because change is very difficult for individuals, and change is intimidating. And when you have not priorly engaged with the community prior to bringing a huge change like technology, it becomes a futile exercise because there's going to be resistance. So constant contact with communities, understanding what is it that makes them tick, being part of the community makes it easy for communities to actually respond to the changes that you want to bring in their own environment.
Thank you, Ramulupi.
Thank you, Mayor. I think from my side, I'd like to bring it right here home with Midvaal as an example. So with digital, it actually brings transparency. And from that, what I actually mean is that now municipality is able to actually give the client or the customer the ability to see their statement online. And at that time, if the customer is happy to pay, they can actually pay their statement because there's that visibility. What am I being charged for? And if I'm happy, I can do that. It kind of touches on that omni-channel that everyone has been talking about. Also the ability to do that in the app with the chatbots and that. So I think digital, more than a lot of things, brings that visibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramulupi. Mr. Mudlik?
Thank you very much. So from a global use case perspective that has relevance nationally, it's something that we've been researching, and I think that we're going to find its legs in South Africa growing quite rapidly, is that Gartner emphasizes the importance of composability as a strategic approach for organizations that want to accelerate agility, resilience, right, and adaptability in a fast-moving business world, right? So composability involves designing systems and processes using modular systems, right? And I think we spoke about it earlier, modular components that can be designed easily, where it's either reassembled or assembled or removed quite rapidly, right, to meet the changes in business context. So think of it like composability is like a building block using blocks. I like to use the analogy of Lego blocks, right? It is like each block represent part of a system that can be easily snapped on and snapped off, and we spoke about APIs as well. So from a municipal context perspective, think about a municipal financial management software system or an ERP solution where the block is you can choose only the parts you require. So think about if you need to produce a bill, instead of using the entire system, you can now generate billing as a service. Right? So I think you can grow and adapt over time and as your needs change. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's customer-centric, citizen-centric, and that's the success of the whole innovation in the public space. What are the pitfalls, though, the other side of it, that is a challenge for us to achieve all these wonderful things? Gonna take that?
I think the challenge would be if there has not been a thorough engagement with, for instance, I'll stick to communities because municipalities are all about communities, right? If communities have not been prepared, for instance, recently I've read that communities are actually protesting with regards to smart meters being installed in their own areas. There's this history of not wanting to pay for services. And this is one of the stumbling blocks in terms of how the municipalities actually retrieve or get revenue or collect revenue effectively within the communities. Now, when you don't have a buy-in of communities with regards to them paying for services, that is informed by the history that we come from as a country where individuals or communities don't want to pay for services based on whatever reasons that they may give. Perhaps maybe there is unemployment, and therefore there's no affordability, there's no opportunities to generate funds and stuff like that. All these factors culminate to resistance and culminate to challenges that municipalities will actually come across in terms of servicing the communities that they're supposed to service in a certain way. So there's supposed to be a strategy of sorts, you know, when it comes to minimizing resistance. It is there, and it's informed by historical ideologies and all other factors.
I think building on that, only 2 points. Stumbling blocks, change management. If it can't be coupled into reality, it will remain abstracted away from reality and never be grounded. The second issue speaks to sustainability. The controls and the warranty components all need to be in place. So to ensure sustainability, producing a lab product is reasonably easy. Keeping it going forever and a day is a different issue. So here I'm speaking, I see the AG left early, so I'll speak on their behalf. Controls and audit.
Yeah. Okay. No, on my side, just to add, I think it's breaking it down into 4 components in terms of challenges. It will be people, process, technology, and also in the 4th industrial revolution, we also talk information. So from a people's perspective, it's the necessary skills that needs to be acquired in terms of going through an innovation process. From a process perspective, is rethinking how our business processes at local government, national government, provincial governments are actually modeled around service delivery, because that has a huge impact when you want to have conversations around digitization and modernization of services. And you also, on the technology, one of the biggest discussion in the academia field, it's around under-resourced environment when you do research. And we know in Africa, we are one of the most under-resourced. We have under-resourced environment when it comes to technology, be it infrastructure, connectivity, or any form of technology that is required in order to enable innovation. That becomes a huge issue. And then lastly, it's access to data and information. It's good to theorize around machine learning concept, data analytic concept, and business intelligence. But when you then have information and enough data to be able to run through those analyses, we end up with situations where we start talking biasm when it comes to some of the analysis that we do, because we always end up with incomplete information. And those 4 keys, if they can be addressed, some of them there's already movement in terms of addressing, but there's still some way to go in addressing all of them.
So I'd like to echo the sentiments of the 2 panelists. I consider a 4-pronged strategy, and it's really around investment into deep skills and varied skills, strong change management, right, to ensure that the deliverables are met, and then an equally strong education campaign, wide education campaign. And then lastly, I think the wrap is the marketing wrap. And I call it marketing wrap because you want those proof of concepts to instill confidence. And I think if you wrap that 4 quadrants together, then you're instilling confidence in what typically is, we are a cautiously optimistic society as a nation. And I think then the proof is in the pudding. And if we can achieve those 4 quadrants, we instill confidence. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, part of the challenges is sometimes as South Africa, as a country, we tend to be a bit of laggards, if you can put it that way. And we find sometimes we try to adopt international standards and think they're gonna fit here, whereas we know we still have lots of areas, municipalities that don't have coverage, no network. We don't have cell phone proliferation like other countries. So sometimes when you try and adopt international standards and bring them home, it kind of creates a problem. And again, on top of that, up to now, the legislation is not very much supportive of fast digital transformation, but it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, in the presidency now, they've appointed the head of digital. They have a beautiful structure to actually unlock things. So that kind of gives us hope.
Thank you, gentlemen. So to sum up this question about key lessons in municipalities, is that one, and I'll start backwards, we need to localize our solutions. We need to look at people, process, technology, and data to make sure that we cover all bases. We need to make sure that our solutions are sustainable and the change management is there to ensure that they are successful. That's more or less. Do you have a comment from the audience? No? Question? We can go on to the next one. Okay. I'd like to talk about smart cities and infrastructure. How do we ensure that smart city developments are inclusive and not just beneficial to high-income earners? Shall I repeat my question?
I think most solutions have become decoupled from infrastructure per se. So it's not about any one specific device, one specific network, one specific compute platform. There's enough diversity in that environment for the solution sets to have become reasonably commoditized. From a citizen engagement perspective, however, it's that democratization of data, open data, allowing them to participate with it. We have a hackathon about to start. Would have been beautiful if there was even more fuel thrown on that fire through democratization of data, making those open data sets, which can then be enriched. Because it's in that data space and then the onward surfacing on a headless basis, like what Box Fusion presented, that allows for amplification of existing solutions and expansion of the ecosystem.
Yeah, okay. I think for me, it comes down to a very sensitive conversation around what we normally call it privatization of technology services. And how you normally see it's through proprietary rights, where government procures IT solutions that come with certain proprietary conditions, which that on its own creates challenges when it comes to scalability, especially the fact that the cost implications goes higher as tougher as those proprietary conditions comes through. Just to give a simple example, we once ran a project where we wanted to transition a department from one software within the healthcare to another. And one of the biggest obstacle was around proprietary rights on some of the data that was contained into this softwares, which by no rights, the ownership of the data was government. But it becomes an issue, and that issue manifests itself through level of costs that government now has to incur. We should not be having conversation around whether there should be differences in terms of technology implementation, whether from the poor people or from those that have the means to access that level of technology. Because in government, if we were to start investing in internal development of some of these solutions, because government knows what its citizen wants, and move away from proprietary softwares to some extent. I'm not saying overnight you can move away from it. But that will tend to bring the cost of access to technology services down, enabling inclusivity, rather than the discussion where it's only those that have the right means who have access to better technology.
I think when we're talking about inclusion and from a provider perspective, you want to be leading edge or you want to bring about change, the risk that we must not fall into is that one size fits all. And it's all about applicability and relevance. Right? I think when we're launching something new, there's huge capex involved, there's OPEX, there's people, there's resource cost. And I think the mistake that we could make is looking at the quickest return on investment, right? So we must always be mindful that if we want to include, we have to ensure we answer the so what. You know, what may be applicable in a high net worth environment may not necessarily be relevant in other LSM groups. So we must be cautious and ensure that if we're looking at inclusion, we have to answer the relevance conversation. Thanks.
I think from a smart city point of view, once we can get over the challenge of interoperability, we can actually get those kind of systems to actually benefit everyone, including actually everyone. So I imagine, for example, the city of Joburg, we've been trying for some time to actually get some kind of a card or system or a wallet that can actually facilitate customer getting onto a taxi in Soweto, getting to the city, using the same system to get onto a bus to get to where they work, and also on a weekend being able to use the same card to enter city of Johannesburg. I mean, it's supposed to be the simplest, and it's something that can actually benefit everyone. But from an infrastructure point of view, empire building, and those, you see, so those are the kind of challenges that we have to get over, but it's something that can actually be very inclusive and accommodate everyone. Thanks.
Thanks. Maybe let me just take a final step at it. Look, for you to have smart cities, you need money. You need a budget. You need a solid budget so that you can implement and differentiate yourself from other municipalities, if I may put it. And right now, municipalities are struggling with regards to collecting revenue, right? I think the government has made it quite somewhat easy or considerable for municipalities to actually ultimately collect revenue as they're supposed to. There's what we call RT29, which is a transversal contract that the National Treasury has actually put in place for municipalities to apply to, so that they, for instance, can procure smart meters, enabling them to efficiently collect revenue from residents. That's one way of municipalities who can generate and collect revenue effectively. And after that, you can build on that to say, okay, what information is there with regards to service providers that are able to make my city smart. There's IoT infrastructure and devices that are out there that probably municipalities must engage and try and see how they source that information out. For instance, we have different forms of IoT devices and different tariffs that actually can connect devices onto the network from Vodacom, right? And this I'm saying so that the municipality can engage, particularly with Vodacom, to say how is it that we actually can utilize your infrastructure together with information that you have in terms of IoT devices that are available out there that can make our city smart. First of all, personally, I would say we need to collect revenue. by implementing smart meters and collect revenue effectively. And then we can take it from there in terms of how we then use that revenue to actually inject into communities to make them smart.
So the consensus, directly or indirectly, is hinging on Dr. P's thing about proprietary rights. And I seem to have read somewhere that government made a legislation that systems should be on open source. And I think precisely to circumvent that, which then talks to the officials implementing what the government has put in place. Because I think everybody says hindsight is 20/20 vision. It didn't make sense that we want to go open source because nobody is poo-pooing open source, but then later on when you try to get data, want to democratize data, want to be able to have interoperable systems, you can't because everybody is siloed. And so maybe the next thing to do would be to say, how do we then make sure that we democratize all these things so that we can then enable our municipality to give a standardized service across from a rural community member to an inner city member. The service is the same because the systems allow for that to happen. I'll get off my soapbox now. Any comments? Questions from the floor? No? Is it the mid-afternoon slump? Okay, I'll get on to my closing question then. Oh, this is interesting. So, in closing, if you had to recommend one digital initiative for Midvaal to prioritize in the next 12 months, what would it be and why? Start with you, Mr. Midley.
Let's go.
Here you go.
I'll take a stab at it. Not just for Midvaal, but I think it would be applicable across the municipal landscape. I would say that if they don't, then they should consider the implementation of a full turnkey enterprise asset management solution, which includes your financial asset register as well as your technical asset capability, including life cycle management, which we found is a gap across the landscape. Right? I see the audience members are nodding, so maybe I'm onto something. But I think what's key in terms that it strengthens your asset management or your financial management posture as a whole. Because we know that I think, and I'm talking about two quadrants that are immediately strengthened, and that is your CapEx posture, but also your OpEx posture when it comes to maintenance. You have more deeper visibility and management of those two financial components. Thank you.
I would say Midvaal is obviously one of the leaders in terms of digital. And just because you are at the top, now is not the time to rest on your laurels.
You're only as good as your last achievement.
Exactly. And in the next 12 months, I would say you have a great bank as your partner. And one of the things that I think can help you excel and actually do much better than what you're doing now is you could look into these new, I suppose, payment methods that have been introduced in South Africa. One of them being a debit check system. Debit check system can be very powerful to help you to improve on your debt collection. And with a little bit of integration into the line of business system, you can actually empower your debt collectors to actually collect better, because in the past, there were two problems. One, people didn't trust the municipality enough to give them a mandate to withdraw from their account, because you then get 100,000 bill all of a sudden out of nowhere. But you've achieved trust. So customers can actually give you that mandate to collect from their accounts. And the nice thing again with debit check is that we can actually say you can collect maybe up to 500 as an example. And we give you flexibility to say, yes, your bill can go up. Maybe in 1 month it can go up to 800. But over and above that, the debit order will fail. You won't be able to, even if there's a glitch in the system, you won't be able to bill things like 100,000 because the system actually protects you and the customer. And one last thing is PaySharp. I know it was mentioned earlier. PaySharp is a very, very powerful tool from a debt collection as well, because today you have the ability, for example, when a customer, you've switched off the electricity and they want to make payments arrangements, you can actually, at the spot, make a request to pay. Using simply their cell phone number, they get that request and they pay you now. The money is in your account in 10 seconds. And if I must start dreaming, I would say the request to pay functionality opens amazing possibilities in my head, at least for now. Because if you are able to send a request to pay into somebody's banking app, you can actually get to a point where you don't need to send out bills anymore. You talk to the customer directly into their banking app, and they pay you now without any distractions. So these are the digital things that we should start thinking about to stay at the top. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm passionate about IoT. I connect IoT devices onto the network. One of my customers is actually City of Ekurhuleni, where we've implemented a platform called Global Data Services Platform, which enables you to actually manage your IoT devices end to end. This is such that the reason I'm mentioning this platform is because the implementation of IoT or IoT environment and devices is such that one of the factors that make a doubt to individuals and municipalities is security. GDSP is powered by Vodafone, and they build a tunnel, in actual fact, to the device itself, such that you have communication to the platform and to the device, and data doesn't actually leak outside of the platform itself. If you have a smart meter installed in communities for your customers, you are able to actually zoom and concentrate on that particular meter in terms of it providing data on the usage of electricity and water, and therefore you do not have, you would not have issues in terms of customers paying for the amount of electricity that they have used. That is one. Secondly, you eliminate human errors in terms of information that is collected on the meters, in terms of what the meter readings are. Thirdly, I've heard Ntate Mutsamai saying that there is, customers are empowered to send meter readings via WhatsApp. There's a lot that can go amiss in terms of that information that is sent to you for you to actually bill. But with GDSP, you actually can get the reading of the meter in real time. You are able to bill exactly what the customer has used. You have control of switching off and switching on and suspending that particular device should you need to. And that actually makes sure that you track your customers that are also could have bypassed the meters in terms of, you know how it is in the communities where customers don't want to pay for electricity, but they have their houses lit. It's because they have bypassed the devices. But you are able to track the trends of how customers are actually consuming electricity, and you are able to make informed decisions with regards to how do you then make a plan in retrieving the revenue that is due to the municipality. That is a low-hanging fruit And in 12 months' time, I would love to see Midvaal having implemented that particular platform and a solution where revenue is going to be maximized. Your colleagues at the Ekurhuleni municipality can better attest to this, what I'm saying. Even the RT29 is using the GDSP platform as we speak, because it's one of the most effective platforms that enables you to manage your IoT devices anywhere in the globe. And the last thing that I want to say is that one of the benefits of this particular platform is that in South Africa, it's able to use all the technologies that are available in terms of connecting IoT devices, meaning 2G, 3G, LTE, NB-IoT. And Vodacom is the only service provider in South Africa that actually provides narrowband IoT, which is geared towards smart metering environments. Thank you.
The doctor asked me to go first. I'm not jumping the queue. So I think I've actually got two critical things you can buy. The best thing you can do is buy something from our catalog. Anything that empties our warehouse, buy it. Now, on a more serious note, there's really one thing you should do, and that is to create the gift that keeps on giving. To me, the answer is data. Data surfacing, data integration, and data beneficiation. When you plow data beneficiation, do it for the use case that gives you biggest bang for buck. If you're trying to make the AG happy, then do it, pick that particular use case. If you're doing it for citizens, pick that particular use case. If you're doing it for your internal efficiencies, pick that use case. But the main thing is data. Surface all your hidden data sets, integrate them, so you can create your data pool, and then beneficiate it, groom it, analyze it, manipulate it to your heart's content to meet any one specific use case. Again, that's the second thing you should do, because the first thing was buy from our catalog. Here's the doctor. He's got the final word.
No, thanks. On my side, I think I'll want to take it slightly back. I don't have a catalog, by the way. But I think the main focus in terms of where the municipality needs to be in the next 12 months should come from a very good case study in the banking industry, where 10 years ago, to deposit money, you had to queue inside a bank for about 30 minutes and sometimes even more than that. And 10 years today, where the banks have evolved to contactless organizations, services have moved to the consumers, including some of the bank's responsibilities. And I think the municipality, with the kind of tools and development they have, that's the kind of thinking they need to be going towards, where they are thinking contactless services. How then do they empower the citizens, not only to communicate with them when they have a complaint, but create a platform that allows the citizens to also help the municipality make critical decisions. And technology is there to provide such platforms. So which means, how does the municipality evolve to end up with 80% of their services being rendered by the citizen, and the municipality rendering 20% of those services? And Midvaal has the tools in order to see that happening. It's a question of how then do they collaborate those tools in order to be able to deliver such a service where the MM can sit for about 3 months because there will not be anyone complaining. All the citizens are.
Thank you, Dr. P. Wow. Anyway, that's interesting and very varied. I was going to use the catalog. I was like, oh, this is a plug question. I didn't realize, but it worked very well. Thank you, gentlemen. And I agree with you that, you know, to the next 12 months, the things that need to do. Some of them are doable. I'm trying to wrap my head around citizens resolving the Pareto maximum, 80-20. Yeah. But it's a dream that one can pursue, and I like that. But do we have comments from the floor? No? We're still in a mid-afternoon slump.
Just listening to the questions, the ideas, and the thought processes. We're a technology provider. I'm one of those guys. But throughout the whole day, and stopping off or closing off with the smart city concept, I'm interested in the thought process of what's your definition of a smart city? Short. Because smart city, end to end, is massive. And it can include safety, health, all other national departments, provincial departments, doesn't matter. But in the case of a municipality, district, small, medium, large, what's your definition of a smart city?
I'm going to shoot at an answer quickly. I think it starts off with like any organization, efficiency. In your back end, are you running efficiently? 90th percentile cost, 90th percentile performance. Nice, smooth, efficient. Second one, engage city. Are you engaging with your customer? Remember, when I'm talking, let's not fixate only on smart city. This is true of any business. Are you engaging with your customer? Is your customer a partner, or is it a transactional type arrangement? Are we just buying chappies from each other, or are we developing a relationship? And the fact is that citizens live in the environment. We are all, or I used to be, not anymore, but you guys are public servants. Okay, but there's a symbiotic relationship that exists. So, are you an efficient city in your back end? Are you an engaged city that you're participative and collaborative? Are you a safe city? Because that's another key dimension. An integral part of safe city is disaster management, with the cameras, the cops, all of those security services, disaster emergency medical services. And then you've got a healthy city, which speaks to the entire health domain. So when you look at all the key city departments, each of them has a role to play. And they unravel a different facet of smart city. Is any one more important than another? Well, not necessarily. Because even whoever's accountable for environmental, there's legislative obligations that you must reflect on the amount of sulfur in the air and the number of particles, and. But that has an impact on health. From a complete socioeconomic perspective, it has an impact in terms of your security situation. And then all your hygiene factors, water, sanitation, has an impact on health as well. So I think all facets are important, but I would pick those three key words, which is efficient, engaged, and what is the third one again? It's safe. Safe.
Thank you. So I'm glad this is a closing remark. I had to think very hard, but I came to a very simple answer with regards to a definition of a smart city. A smart city would be defined as a city whose leadership take advantage of the technology that is available out there and find ways to actually implement that as easy as possible by engaging its citizenship to participate in the implementation of making the city smart and taking advantage of the low-hanging fruit in terms of what they could actually benefit from in terms of revenue collection that will make the city as smart as you would like the definition. Thanks.
At the risk of repeating myself, but also reiterating what you said, a smart city it's too big for us. I mean, as South Africa, I'd say we're not there. But if you can take small bites out of it, with the example I used earlier, if I'm able to have some kind of system where I can seamlessly jump on a bus and buy a theater ticket, and it's all interconnected. It's smooth, it's seamless. But if I should tone it down, I would say to Midvaal, if we can get to a point where we don't have citizens queuing in the rates hall. For whatever reason, if we can get to a point where their customers can be able to settle all their municipal issues, whether it's query on their bills and stuff, and they can do it all digitally without having to come and queue here, and we can take our cashiers and give them much more digitally inclined roles, like maybe data analytics and those kind of things. I would say we can almost say we are a digital city to some degree.
So as a technologist, I think over the years, I was fortunate enough to study three different, I think it's 2 or 3 different smart city concepts, live concepts across the globe, and I think that was in Central Europe, Germany, Southeast Asia, it was I think Seoul, and then I think Central Asia. And I found that there was a golden thread in 3 areas, and that was modular by design, so they were all scalable from the word go. And then what you just mentioned, all of them had supported interoperability through integration. So that was key. And then I think the last part that I noticed, there were several, but the main 3 was real-time data. Now, Thanks.
I'm the moderator. I don't get to answer questions. But thank you, gentlemen, for those succinct answers. Do we have another question over there? ML Lache.
Hello, hello. Okay, I think my comment is that you are doing something amazing, but I think there's a leg that is missing. The room is empty. I think you need to sell yourselves more, particularly the communications team, the mayor. South Africa needs to see what you are doing. And then another leg that I want to go to is, I think we are missing a lot. We're not talking about how we could use digital in terms of leveraging or going into content creation, particularly for youth. I saw all the speakers. There's a gentleman for VUT. He's the only person who spoke to young or business people. We need to talk to that element. Why? Because this municipality is doing well, but imagine if we could supercharge or gain more taxpayers. We could, there would be more taxpayers, there would be more residents who move from a certain bracket to another one. So let's talk to how you could host, let's say, festivals. That's another digital aspect. Let's talk to how we could sell Sharpeville. Let's talk how we could sell ISCO. It's a huge heritage site here. Particularly if you heard the gentleman from VUT, what they are doing, but it's happening somewhere in a little corner where South Africa doesn't know. So I'm gonna come back next year. I would love to see the hall full. I want to see this story, not only on SABC, we must see this story so that other municipal, I come from Tembisiliani in Mpumalanga, by the way. I'm sure they will hide their head in shame if they were to see what you guys are doing, but I'm sure they don't know about it. Sell this, it has a huge opportunity to be copied and implemented elsewhere. I don't want to be long. Thank you.
Thank you, Ra. There's another question over there. Thank you for your kind words of encouragement, Ra. 2 more questions at the back.
Who's first?
Hi, my name is Bongiwe Manyongwana. I am the business manager of Midvaal. So for me, it's more of a comment. Firstly, I want to celebrate this municipality. I worked very closely with Ndade, Mr. Cave. Okay, let me stand. I worked very closely with Mr. Cave and Dr. Sillo in putting together this, the chatbot. Mr. Cave was really a drill sergeant, but I really want to celebrate this municipality and you, Mr. Sillo. I really want to celebrate you guys. This is, for me, very amazing, very phenomenal. And, you know, we want to take it out to other municipalities. The chatbot and how everything in my Midvaal app, Mr. Cave was very, very passionate about this, and he would not let it go for it to be here and for even this digital expo to happen. Really, for me, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of Midvaal, and I'm celebrating. And as Nedbank, to be your banker and to be your supporter, we're very, very excited. So we're excited. We want other municipalities to take on this. And I was very excited. We were actually just chatting about how we are gaining traction on the My Midvaal app and the chatbot, and how people are using and are trusting the platform. So yeah, just well done, Mr. Cave, and very excited and to be part of it. Yay!
Thank you, ma'am. There was another question behind you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think my question is to the panel of experts and service providers with us here today. Thank you guys, first and foremost, but I think there's one missing discussion that we always have around technology. Today it's mostly been about revenue and operations, you know, how we can build efficiency, but there's one aspect which is quite important, and it's a national crisis, which is crime or citizen safety. So I just want to pick your brains when it comes to how we can leverage technology in order to provide citizen safety across the nation, districts, and municipalities. Thank you.
Okay. No, thanks, Katejo. That's actually quite important, but I think one thing that has been repeatedly was around the need for creating interoperability in everything that we do. And what sits at the heart of crime, yes, there's multiple factors, one being socio-economic related factors, but at the heart of it, it's around identity. It's knowing who is doing what, where, and when they're doing it. And you know, system interoperability talks to data centralization, talks to the government's ability to know every foreign visitor that we have, who gets documented, and we know at any given time where they are within the country. It comes down to how government processes their system, how data, my colleague spoke about centralization of data, being able to utilize systems across multiple departments. We need to be at a point where SEPS is able to communicate with Department of Social Development. It's able to communicate with Home Affairs. It's able to harness some of the information that is coming from CSIR around pockets of where crime is likely to happen. To my surprise, I learned not long ago that actually there is an ongoing project around AI cameras that are able to pinpoint where there are gunshots. And for some reason, if you go to social development, where we are talking about gender-based crime, which includes violent crime around guns being utilized, we've never had any of that technology being utilized, because then it means we would know as and when a gunshot happens in a residence. So it comes down to interoperability. How do we make sure that government departments are able to talk to each other? How do we make sure that if a patient goes to the hospital unconscious, we are able to tap into Home Affairs in order to identify them using biometric technology? So most of the colleagues have already uttered what I'm saying, but it's a question of how then do we enable that in government? Thanks.
Can I also just to add on to that? There is a gentleman that spoke about citizen engagement application, whereby citizens are actually able to communicate with the authorities using that particular application. That is one way of actually trying to combat crime in areas, because you are able to report onto that particular application. It's how then we need to integrate it with the police departments, and also the education that needs to go into the communities with regards to the use of that particular application.
Thank you, everyone. I think this brings to an end our panel discussion, and by extension, our conference, the first part of day one of our conference. We will be continuing with the hackathon starting earlier on tonight. Just an announcement, those of you who are interested in reading the presentations that were given today, if you've registered on the website for the conference, they will be there, yes? Yes, and this completes my assignment for the day. And I'd like to call Councillor, the MM. Okay. I'd like to call onto the podium the MM to give his vote of thanks.
For making technology fashionable and closer to home. There's a lot that we have actually learned, and we don't only want to look, colleagues, it's very easy to go to the top, but very difficult to stay there. And we need colleagues such as you to help us to stay there. I went back to some of our management reports. In a given month, we've got at average about 8,000 calls or complaints. But in this municipality, we've got about 150,000 people, about 34,000 households. That actually translates to almost 6% of the people complaining in the system. Does it mean the 94% are happy? Does it mean, is there an opportunity on the 94%? And maybe it goes to the question, what is this smart city? I hope I'm not smoking something that people have never smoked before, but I'm really dreaming of a Midvaal where technology or digital world as a utility is a basic service delivery. And how I dream that to be, by profession, I'm a civil engineer, so I'm very practical. So we want a community where a 4-year-old will say, Mommy, if you don't pay your utility bill, I don't have my free 5 gigabyte data that I get from Midvaal. And that is if we've rolled out broadband in the entire municipality. The change management that we had to go through having the Tanis in Riversdale, having the Granny in Lakeside and Sicelo, to move to a smartphone so that they are able to download WhatsApp and my Midvaal app and the likes. We also want the kids to sing Midvaal. And we want people to associate service delivery with Midvaal. It's not a joke that I still call Fanta a Coke in my age, at my age. It's because the strategy for Coke was you go big or you go home. And this is who we want to be, and this is who we want to associate ourselves with, program director, and that is Midvaal. So thank you very much for making us think beyond and outside of just being public servants. It made me think of Discovery Bank. Sorry, my banker is Nedbank. I acknowledge you. They are making it in the space. I dream of a call center, not just an agent who's passing a call, but a proper customer relations unit where it's a one-stop service. And that is the only way you will not see any queue at our tax hall and stuff like that. I dream of a Midvaal where it's got an integrated system. If we are able to preempt, oh no, we will respond to your call within 2 days or 3 days. Let it be that this is also linked to your asset register, it links to your fleet, it links to your staff availability. That particular system, I think it's actually possible, me getting from, this particular conference. And I think I'm very grateful. And with the minds that we have, and all the suggestions, the ideas, I think this is a feat we will achieve as an institution and make service delivery fashionable, and make service delivery and make Midvaal to actually stay at the top for the longest time. It is 11th clean audit, but people don't care anymore. If you go to other municipalities, they will tell you we don't eat clean audit. But you actually need clean audit for you to attract the investment in your own municipality. You need clean audit to attract CSIR, to attract AG to come speak, to attract almost everybody to want to be associated with you. For that reason, we are actually leveraging on our clean governance to even go PPP for our electricity business. You ask me what is the problem at this stage. Water is also a challenge, but generation part of the electricity is also a challenge. And this is, we want to, from our own good governance, we want to leverage and bring partnership and bring business, bring investment in our institution. And we are hoping that we will be co-creators of this future, which you are all very certain that we are actually on the right track. So I want to say thank you very much for those that have actually attended and those that are actually watching us from wherever. We are live in Cape Town and wherever else, if you did not know. We are a global, though some are so tempted to call us an island because of the achievements and our identity in Gauteng, but we are a global municipality and an epitome where people can also benchmark and do the great. So you are all beautiful and we shall see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
All right. Everything that we want to do in achieving the service delivery levels that we want to achieve for our community. So we really want to appreciate you, all the stakeholders that participated, from government, the private sector. I saw CSIR and the colleagues that I've also seen from other institutions. So let me also thank everyone basically, but more than anything, let me thank all of you guys for staying with us the rest of the day and making sure that you listen attentively, and not only listen, but you also participate in the program. So I think from my side, let me really acknowledge that. the municipal officials that have been here with us the whole day. I see some of them are already nodding their heads. So I really do acknowledge all of you guys. I know putting this program together must have been quite a difficult one. So we appreciate that part. I know even though some of you are here, service delivery still continue on the ground, so that gives me comfort, and I'm sure the executive mayor will also be happy knowing that by continuing with this program, we are not in a way disturbing the service delivery that our community expects from us. Your team and everyone that made it here, all the politicians that were here and that are still here, so let me also acknowledge them. Then that also means we are now concluding on the first part of the program, but obviously now moving to the second part, which is the hackathon. I believe the students that will be participating in the hackathon were already briefed, and at some point the HOD and the team that will be staying behind will also engage with you further in terms of the expectation from our side. To everyone that was here, from the program director, I can't thank you enough. I think the program went so smooth because of your directing the program and really chairing and making sure that we move in such a way that we're supposed to. The IT team, not use pay, I mean the guys that were capturing the event, are they called communication, the capturing and all of those kind of things. So we really thank you guys. The lighting, the visuals was proper. We're also receiving some comments from our groups, from people that were also watching at some point to say you really provided a high quality production to everyone that could not make it today. So thank you to everyone. I hope I thanked everyone. If I didn't thank you, I do extend my appreciation to you also. We can adjourn up until we meet again tomorrow. Bye-bye.